Welcome to Film Bluffs, a place for free-range, non-GMO, dog water opinions. So come on in, take a seat, and let's make fun of the kid with no internet.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Film Bluffs. Did you like the two-part special? Sure hope you did.
We
Well,
did.
yeah. Oh, you
Uh,
weren't asking me.
I was asking the audience, the only people that matter.
I
forget.
matter, right? We all matter because we
What's
have
the Green Knight?
mass. I'm Marshall and joined with Jobe and Trace today as per usual. Not shaking it up this time. Completely
I'm
normal
Jobe.
episode. We forgot to say last week, I think, what movie we were watching.
That's because it was a surprise. Also, I think Marshall was a little upset.
We watched Starship Troopers, so
Woo!
go ahead and pause this now and then go watch Starship Troopers and then come back if you've never
That's
seen
crazy.
it. Or if you're like, man, I want to watch Starship Troopers now, go watch that. But we're going to give our collective thoughts on it and discuss, hey, did we like it? There's boobies. What's Jobe's opinion on them? Jobe, go ahead.
That probably will be the second,
So-
unfortunately.
I did just house some pizza, as you may recall.
So if his breath smells a little weird, that's why.
Well, I did just want to alert you. I might need to pause the episode halfway through just so I can go take a shit, but
I truly
power
hate
through.
this man.
But did you warn? He warned us for the smell-o-vision that when it comes out, and this is like a holy relic.
Don't worry, dear audience. I'll take you in for a first-hand experience.
take
of
you.
Joe dropping a dumper.
This was
Anyway, Starship Troopers was fine.
It's nothing
yeah.
spectacular.
That's
I don't feel like I
yeah.
worry that this episode for me at least is not going to be a zing fest because I don't know if I have that much to say.
This was the first time I've seen this movie in my career of living, and my cat's tweaking out because it's pouring. But
Classic.
it was
Pouring out.
like, all right, I can see where it's kind of going. That it's like I don't know what you call it, not a parody of the real world or some shit like that, or
A little bit.
right? But it only started to kind of reel me in when I started realizing that they were like kind of growing up throughout. That like the main characters were like progressing, rather than just like the first one. I'm like, okay, this is where they're going, but then they see them like keep moving up and up, and I'm like, all right, that's kind of fun. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, they're going around, they shoot bugs, they go pew 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 pew. Personally, I feel like the characters, they do have character growths, but they're not like super crazy. And Carmen still sucks.
Carmen's so good. Carmen's so cute.
Trace, you just
and
like
hot.
Carmen because she's hot. You
Well,
don't
yeah,
care about her
Carmen.
personality.
Yeah, no, her personality sucks. She's awful as a person,
Hold
but
on, gang.
she's only in it for herself. But she's hot
I'm
as fuck, so she's
I'm gonna
allowed to.
I'm gonna do a quick research montage real quick.
Go ahead and look up Denise Richards.
Go ahead and look up
And
Dina
then-
Meyer.
I did. It's okay.
Go ahead and Trace, give us a summary of this movie.
Alrighty.
What
so
a
Starship
segue, right,
Troopers
guys? Come on, hold on.
is,
Give me some. That was pretty good, right?
So
Nothing?
Starship Troopers.
Hold on, I'm
It was-
looking up pictures of attractive women.
Just in general, or are you looking up these ones?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Attractive women. Why is she not on here? I'm so confused.
Trace, go on.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Starship Troopers, it was a novel that it's loosely based on, and then the like writers and producers of the film read like a couple of pages, were not interested, and went, somebody else read this and tell me about it. And he went, all right, here it is. And he went, we're gonna do something different. So it follows Brahm from Sleepy Hollow. Barney, no, the movie sucks. Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, and the wonderful Denise Richards as Carmen, probably the hottest thing to come out of the 70s. And you're something. You're real cute. So in the roughly 23rd or later century, probably the later end of the 23rd century, the United Citizen Federation is a world government that is at war with the arachnids. It's kind of it's very a militaristic society now, and the government is really heavily dependent on that. These bugs have been like throwing these fucking meteors at Earth for a while now, and our really cool defenses in the 23rd century are like shooting them and blasting them out of the sky. And our main characters are finishing up school. They're playing a weird futuristic football. They're going to their final dance, and then a lot of them are deciding, hey, I'm gonna go join up in the military in various parts. Barney Stinson goes to go be a mind reader because he's psychic and he can control ferrets. Carmen Sandiego is gonna be a pilot, and so she's going to the flight academy to learn all that. And then our hero Johnny Rico has no idea what he wants to do with his life, but he's thinking he wants to be a citizen. And the best way to become a citizen is to serve at least 2 years in the Federation. So, after he hears about all his friends leaving and everything and being so in love with Denise Richards, because how could you not be? He goes, you know what? I'm going to join the military as well. However, I got like a 35% on my math, and I'm real fucking dumb. So, I'm going to go join mobile infantry. So he's part of all the grunts that go out and, are big numbers in the military. They get killed first. And he's like, I'm going to make something out of myself because Carmen's also here and I love her. So his parents cut him off because they don't want to do this. They want to go on a cool vacation somewhere else. And he's like, nah, fuck you. So he goes to the mobile infantry. He quickly makes squad leader and he's rising up through the ranks. And then Carmen writes him a little video and goes, hey, so you're real cute and all, but I'm gonna go career because I wanna be out in space all the time, and unfortunately I can't be out in space and like you, so I'm out. So she does that and she's like, let's be friends though. And then everybody's like, hey, sorry, Mr. Johnny Rico, we know how much of a bitch that girl is because of that instance. So he's all, fine, whatever. It's no big deal. And then he gets somebody killed during a live round drill. He's all, I'm going to leave the Federation now because this is kind of fucked. The only reason I showed up was because of a girl, but not before he gets 10 lashes for punishment of killing somebody or getting somebody killed. We don't want to say he's a murderer. So anyway, Buenos Aires in South America gets fucking hit by this big energy ball that the arachnids toss at Earth, and everybody dies. Whoops. That's where all of our heroes are from, so nobody can go home. And Rico's all like, fuck, I was cut off, and now I don't have a home to go back to. Hey, Mr. Krabs, is it cool if I just, stay in the army? And he's like, no, you can't. You signed this little paper here, see? And he's like, yeah, that's my signature. She's like, doesn't look like it. Rips it up. So they're going to war. They're going to kill all these bugs. It's a lot of just bug killing. He quickly rises through the ranks. There's a big mission where it looks like he dies, but he just gets put in a Bacta tank basically, and he's just sitting there getting all stitched up with his friends visiting him. He gets in a fight with some Flight Academy people earlier on, and they're all just going on more missions to kill more bugs and blowing up big bug holes to find the big brain bug that's sucking out people's heads and learning about them and everything. Eventually they find the big brain bug, but Diz, his new girlfriend, dies after having sex with her about 3-5 hours before this. And then he finds his old girlfriend Carmen, and she goes, oh my god, I thought you were dead. And he's like, well, I'm not. All right, cool. So they go back for the brain bug. Carmen crashes into the planet because her ship gets destroyed. And Johnny Rico, lover boy, is all like, all right, we got to stay on mission. Hey, but this way is to Carmen. And everybody's like, hey, you can't go. She's dead. And he's like, yeah, but she's not. I need 2 people to come with me. So they come with him. They get him. One of the other guys dies. They get Carmen. They run out. They nuke the bug hole. The other... Mr. Krabs gets the big brain bug. Everybody's all happy. And then Neil Patrick Harris is like, soon I'm going to learn how they think. Oh, he's terrified. He's scared. And everybody's like, woo! And they're starting to fire off into the air. But the war's not done yet. But with the 3 of these guys, anything's possible.
Yeah,
That's really
I
it. It's a big
mean-
shoot 'em up movie.
Yeah, this movie came out in 97. It looks
True.
like it came out in 97. That's
That's
my
what's
thoughts
up.
on the it's a very CGI heavy movie
Yeah.
for 97 is pretty ambitious, I feel like.
The first the first few minutes, it has the scene of like a big rock coming to Earth, and then they shoot it, and it kind of still looks like the Star Wars, like the early on Star Wars movies,
Oh,
where it's just like
yeah,
a big boom.
Yeah. But I'm talking about more like the bugs. It's like they look alright,
yeah.
but then sometimes they like
I think they look good for 97.
for 97, man. 2025 watching this, I'm just saying that now. It probably looked good back then. It just doesn't look terrible. It just, a few things. I think it's the lighting on the bugs, I think, is off compared to like
That's true.
I think a big issue is they shot a lot of the bug scenes during the middle of the day, and that's,
yeah, when
we
it
all
when it
know, like,
was
CGI is harder to cover up. And
yeah, when it was the first one where it was like all dark, it wasn't terrible because it was like
Yeah.
kind of hidden. I think that was really good.
Speaking of hidden.
And I like the different varieties of bugs that they have and
Yeah.
how freaky they kind of look, to put it nicely. I mean, like the regular trooper bug is like an abomination, and then they have that big old one that just looks like a
Oh,
beetle.
the tank is good. Tankers
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
yeah. Kill you.
But I mean, they're all like fine creature
Yeah.
designs, I think.
Now, I will say, I still think the CGI for now pretty good, because CGI has not been great lately. But CGI like maybe 5 years ago, way better than 97, obviously. I will eat
It's been like 20 years, so I fucking hope so.
27 actually. I would know.
because that's how
God, you're old.
he is.
Well,
No, it's because I'm really good at math.
Well, 5 years ago would be 22 years.
No.
Wait, so that means next year it would be 20.
Well, I mean, 27 years from when this came out. It's gonna be 28 years, because this came out in November of 97.
All right, let's get out of the way. We have a big cast of characters here,
We
even
do.
though we
Pretty
have
good
some
cast, I think.
pretty big cast, and there's some characters that, like the sidekick being Timothy Almondson from like Psych. I was like, oh, damn.
Oh yeah,
You say so, mate.
And I'm like, damn, all right. And we had, what was his name, Hank from Breaking Bad, another kind of cool cats here and there. And you're like, all right, this is a good kind of
Clancy Brown.
good cast, and I feel like all the actors did a pretty, a really good job of, kind of portraying who their kind of stereotype was supposed to be. I feel like it wasn't like, they weren't like subtle characters. It was like they were all stereotypes, but
Yeah.
each person in that stereotype did a good job, I feel like.
For the most part, too, the performances were well done, I would say.
Yeah, I mean they're very over the top with some of the military stuff. Like they do definitely give a few oorah.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I'm
like
like,
that's
Pretty good.
defo intentional.
Yes.
Yeah, but like the big difference between what's his fucking name, Rico, and like the MI, and they're all just like slapping each other on the ass, and then Carmen up in the fucking
They're like,
spaceship.
prim and proper.
Papa. Dude, but
I'm
let's
gonna
let's
miss
get into it. Carmen's a fucking snake for
Yeah, she
saying
sucks.
that she loves him and then fucking ditching his ass.
Okay, now I
To be
will
fair,
say,
he did
yes.
fish that out of her.
yeah,
did.
Rico rips that out of her mouth, and
But-
she's like, "Fine, I love you."
But let's be real. From what we've seen of Carmen in this movie, she definitely could have just not said it. She
Yes.
she has the
Also,
gumption.
Let's be
times out-
real. Girl was definitely fantasizing about that Xander.
Xander's a douche.
Proboscis.
Fuck Xander. He
Xander,
sucks. I'm
every
glad
time
he
I see
died.
him, he reminds me of Trace. Did you ever watch Doctor Who?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Bowman,
You know the guy I'm thinking of, like the
the time traveler guy who doesn't
Yeah,
die.
yeah,
That's
that guy.
John Bowman.
yeah, that guy.
No, I was
Captain
thinking of
Jack
Michael
Harkness.
Baxter.
Jack Harkness. That's the guy he kept reminding me of, and I'm like, that's not
Captain
him.
Jack Sparrow.
Uh,
I didn't like.
We gotta watch
Eh.
those.
dude, they're so good.
Oh man.
This movie, I feel like it's one of those that like I'd watch it again because it's got some funny bits in it.
It does, yeah.
When the fight, when they all these, he's like, "What are all these kids?" And I'm like trying to think, like, is this like a joke and they're all young. I'm like, no, these are like actual like kids.
Some of it, yeah, because like it's not. I looked into it because I was curious. It's not super. It's pretty subtle about it. From what I can tell online, it takes place. This movie in particular takes place over the span of about a year and a half. So like,
yeah,
you got some growing and discipline in the military, but yeah, calling them kids is a little funny because it's just like, oh, we were like that a year ago.
I thought of it two ways because the people you actually see, they are like children, like they're young, but I couldn't tell. I don't know if this was me reading too much into it, if this was the whole parody thing is it seeing it through his eyes, Rico's eyes, and what he sees,
could be.
And that he thinks that they're all like 12-year-olds or whatever, but they're actually like adults like him.
I've never considered that. That's a very good point.
Let's stop.
Look at you go, making valid points and shit. But if it's not, it's also possible that like because when they joined up, they weren't technically at war until Buenos Aires gets attacked. They might have implemented like a huge draft and been like, hey, 12-year-olds, you gotta go kill some bugs.
Yeah, this movie is people fucking die in this movie.
They did, and they die horribly.
Fucking killed.
Now I will say they do a lot of like commercial things in it where they like showing off the commercials and propaganda they put on. I do think it's funny when some of the troopers go to school and they're just like, what can you do to do your part? And then they hand this little girl this massive fucking rifle, and she's just like, wow.
Yeah, those were fun. The one at the end where he like shoves that thingamajig into the big brain bug's mouth.
Yeah.
I definitely did like a.
Yeah, that's I'm like.
I was like, he's not gonna like do that, right? And then they just like put a sensor bar over it.
Yeah, I don't really know what that would be considered for
torture.
Us, but well, no.
Thank you, Marshall.
But like, I feel like I've had a camera up my nose to like do surgery and stuff. Like, it's not a pleasant feeling.
Now imagine some white bitch cuts off the front part of your nose, so you got the Voldemort nose where it's just and then you get captured. Some white boy puts his hand on you and says he's scared.
And I'm like, no shit.
And they tie you up and they start shoving shit down your fucking nose hole.
If Trace was big brain bug, he'd be like, he's scared. And then big bug Trace like, no, actually I'm not scared of anything.
I'm not afraid of anything. You can kill me right now.
Actually, no.
Oh my god, I'm gonna kill. 1 second.
So I watched this one with my father sitting next to me on the couch, which made it really awkward when the sex scene happened.
Well, it was a very mild sex scene comparatively, but I think on this channel, this is like the crazy. That's
probably the craziest thing to happen. Like, in terms of the movies we've watched, this has the most nudity in it so far, I think.
Does it?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you count 8 crazy freaky ass nights, but
am I allowed to say?
No.
He already did. So I mean, you might as well finish your thought.
It's getting cut out.
All right.
Isn't that bad?
Just in the way he's saying it, yes, it is.
It's like saying the fuck word, but like in the context of sex.
I just wanted to say this is the first movie we had with an actual sex scene. However, I'm still holding out for full plunge attack.
I'm still holding out for full P. You know what I mean?
Because that's where the good stuff is.
No,
I don't like that. But I mean, we
just go watch something in your own time, man.
All right, movies,
but I want to talk about it with my friends.
An integration.
Jobe's that guy on like porn sites saying, "Yeah, I do want to share this to Facebook and hear my friends' thoughts on it."
Yeah, I'm curious.
Just to see what they think about it.
Well, listen, Trace is a fucking psychopath over here saying that Carmen is hotter than
she just is.
Diz.
Listen,
we could watch Blue is the warmest color.
No, that's okay.
Blue is new black.
Yeah, but she just is. Like, really, Diz has red hair, and that's about it. Other than that, she's just crazy.
She has a perfect body, a perfect face.
And she's manipulating everyone around her.
How's she manipulating anybody?
They ask her about why Johnny Rico joined up, and she's like, easy one, joined up for a girl. And then he's like, I'm upset. He huffs out of the showers that everybody's in, and he's like, was it you? And she's just like,
They find out like 2 seconds later after
Well,
he emails her
yeah,
on
but
video.
still, she could just go, "Oh no." But because she's
fresh
so
out of high school,
she's
cut
so
her some fucking
infatuated
slack.
with no, fuck that.
she's giving him
She's
shit.
old enough to understand.
Also, you want to talk manipulation? Your fucking girl Carmen.
Is hot. She
No,
can do it. She's
she
allowed.
sucked. She made this man get in the military and then dumped his ass.
She didn't
like, a
make
week.
him.
Dude,
she was like,
No,
she wasn't. She knew what she was doing.
I will admit, Carmen is a snake. However, she never really forces anybody to do anything. Johnny's just a stupid boy with a boner.
Not like Dizzy, who forces a bunch of people to do a bunch of stuff.
Dizzy does the same thing that Johnny does. She joins up for Johnny.
Right.
She joined up on her.
Because she specifically transferred to his unit.
Because it's the best unit.
Okay.
She wanted to meet Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Crab.
I heard this is the best unit. Oh, money.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. You're a fool wearing a sheep's clothing.
He just like straight up breaks a guy's arm too, which is really funny.
I went to
like,
that one.
Like just throws him on the ground. All right, he's beaten. Not yet. He's not.
Between that and like, there's just a few scenes or a while in the beginning where I'm just kind of like, okay, this isn't what I expected. I guess it's gonna be more of like a high school movie.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too.
And then but make it high school.
I don't know, maybe it's like a Attack on Titan.
Maybe
I was thinking it's gonna be like his first kind of like beginning out in the military, not him like a year later, going to like command or whatever.
Oh man, when that guy gets shot in the face during a training exercise.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
I've always loved but hated that scene because he shouts medic and I'm like, dude, what do you think they're gonna do?
Because it's comedy comes in threes, because that'll be the third time that he's yelled
That's true.
medic.
Just scoop up his brain, put it back in, tape his head around. He's all good. See, look.
This movie gave big like Full Metal Jacket vibes, with the first half being them like training and getting ready to go to training, and then the second half being them at war and showing the realities of it compared to their training. Obviously, Full Metal Jacket, and this is completely different, given that Full Metal Jacket was Vietnam, and this is
they have jackets in this.
Yeah.
I feel like this was more.
Fully metal.
This was a commentary on like Vietnam and Gulf War.
Very, very true. I know Jobe is a big fan of callbacks. So how did you feel, Jobe, about Johnny Rico using all of his football prowess to kill bugs and win the simulations?
Silly.
In a good way.
Yeah.
They're like, do a Hut 6 or whatever. And he's like, what? And she's like, football, remember? And he's like, oh yeah.
She really said, do a flip.
And he just does a
She's
flip.
so smart. That just like makes her so attractive.
Okay.
Carmen's so much smarter. She's in flight school. She's going to be a pilot.
She can drive a space car. That's...
Yeah, but she's not allowed to exceed port speed.
The real
and
ones
she has two hoses to disconnect.
on the ground. It's mobile infantry. Everybody else is just a
mobile infantry doesn't do shit.
Okay.
Mobile infantry is the ones who's gonna win this war.
Mobile infantry dies. The fleet flies.
The pilots can't even keep the goddamn ships off the fucking ground.
That's true.
Do you think that like the other people in the bridge would like just go to like break room and be like, hey, you guys see how Denise Richards is fucking Xander the whole time, right? They're like, yeah, what the fuck is that?
That would be funny. Her commander was
like, she's supposed to be flying right now.
Her though.
Oh yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, the captain pulls up with a coffee too.
Sorry, Trace. I've never seen Trace's gaze go 1,000 yards like that before, like that quickly. This one is locked in and just really, and then back in.
I'm just saying, like, the captain strolls in the break room, like, listen, the sexual tension in that room is so thick.
Got it with
the
the knife.
Dude, and then she gets cut in half herself.
Yeah, that was very brutal. I feel like they could have pulled her faster, and they just didn't. Carmen looked at her and went, I could become the captain of the ship.
I tell you what.
Oh no!
Snake.
It did kind of annoy me when Hank, Breaking Bad, was like, "Oh, me legs are gone. You gotta shoot me."
No, that wasn't Hank.
Who was it?
That was their teacher, the guy with one arm.
Oh, yeah,
Rexic.
yeah. There's a lot of.
Cyborg.
That's my point, though. We have cyborg technology. We don't have legs. I feel like legs would be easier than hands.
Well, I think he's getting like chewed up, and he didn't want to like. I think he's getting pulled down or whatever.
Okay,
right?
but to
They
be
pulled him out.
no, but to be fair though, Jobe, he's lost his hand. Yeah, there's a robot hand. He can move around. That's fine. Do you really want to live the rest of your life without your legs?
Yes.
I mean, the guy at the desk, he pushes away from the desk. He's got like no legs down there, and he's like a stubby little arm. And he's
it's so weird.
mobile infantry
how
made me the
we
man
have
I am
technology
today.
for robo hands, but legs.
They haven't figured out feet.
How do they
different
work?
nerves? Different nerves.
I still think it's funny how even though it's supposed to be like games and theory is the official name for it. It's like the intelligence division. I'm like, wait, why does everyone know that? I feel like that's something you're supposed to keep undercover.
No, that'd just be like, hey, did you get into like this cool other branch of like security? And they're like, no, I got into the CIA. Like, that's pretty good. I'm like, damn, okay.
But like the way they say it, games and theory is supposed to be like the cover name for it, and then it's actually
that could just be like the denomer for it, whatever the word
to be
is.
like some sort of advanced psychology.
Yeah. It's like, have you Marshall, were you ever in TAG?
Yeah.
Movie?
No, Talented and Gifted. Like the program at school, is that what they called it back where you were from?
They called it GT, Gifted and Talented.
Oh.
GT. That's
like Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball.
Grand Tour.
No, ask me again though.
No, it's
level
okay.
of Super Saiyan did you make it to?
I wasn't in GT.
You guys are
I was the regular Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
I
that
just
makes
turned
sense.
into a big monkey.
I do like the guy with the Roxic or whatever his name is, the teacher. I like the beginning of it because it's just like for whatever reason he's not using his robot hand. I don't know if that was like military issued after he re-enlisted.
Honestly,
all right, but you need two hands.
Like apparently, those videos you see where it's like, oh, this vet had his fucking arm blown off in the war.
Yeah,
we're using Neuralink to let him use a robo hand. Apparently for a lot of those, like the second their little presentation is over, like, all right, give us the fucking arm back.
Give me your arm.
Come here, boy.
So,
I just like where he's like, he's trying to address Carmen in the class to get her to answer, but he just like smacks her with his nub, and she's just like,
Rust the nub. It was, that scene from Dark Knight where Bane puts his hand on the guy's like jacket. It's like that, but with the nub.
Yeah. Did you guys ever have a teacher in school that did have a missing hand?
Oh, let me think.
I had a buddy whose dad was missing an arm.
I knew a kid that was missing a finger.
We had a teacher in my school that did, and on top of my friend just like making blatant jokes about it, like had a big like paper cutter, and he's like, "Hey, sir, is this how you like?" And he's a good sport, but I accidentally one day in school, he was a shop and art teacher, and so he's hanging up posters for the kids, and I just walked by and noticed it. Him and I have a decent enough rapport, so I'm like, "Oh, hey, sir, do you need a hand?" "Oh shit, no, wait, I mean, like, I don't know, I didn't mean to like," and he's like, "Yes, Trace."
Every now and then
I would like some help. I was like,
"Oh, Trace."
I forget how
I was like, I can't put my finger on it.
I remember how
I have two hands.
Because I met Trace in college. Every now and then he'll tell a story, and then I just like think back about Trace probably was a pretty shitty person in high school. Like,
it was an accident. Obviously, I knew he didn't have one, but it's a common turn of phrase. "Hey, could you use a hand with those groceries, ma'am?" And she's like, "Why sure, I'd love some."
You saw Toy Story the night before, didn't you?
Yeah. Buzz, give me a hand.
Very funny. You get serious. Anyways,
that's a good movie. We should watch that one too.
Starship Troopers. I think it was
like fart shit poopers.
In the wise words of my father, he would call this a shoot 'em up bang movie.
It is
very much.
The shoot 'em up bang parts were just mediocre to me. I didn't. They were like, it's like, they shoot, and then they're just like, okay, and they're still shooting the same CGI aliens, and it's them going, and then the aliens go, and then,
you gotta understand that it's funny to consider the fact that they're they're filming this, but they're not shooting at anything because the bugs were added later. So they're just on the studio going, ah! And that's pretty funny.
I think we can wrap our minds around acting.
Can you, Jobe? Can
It's
you?
all fake, Trace.
I
think this lieutenant,
bug's
whatever,
real.
sergeant, was kind of a dick there, but he was like a masochist. Or
Which
whatever,
one?
Like, when it was like broke the guy's hand and then put a
Yeah,
knife
yeah.
through the other guy's hand. I'm like, dude,
That's
you could
funny.
have just, you could have like, you didn't have to do that. I feel
Ace,
like, but...
Ace kind of reminds me of Zack Attack from
yes, that's what I was
Sky High.
thinking. But his teeth kept bothering me.
Yeah,
Why are
he
they
was just
so
like-
there?
He was just so much
Oh.
douchier than
You're talking
Zack.
about Gary Busey's kid?
Yeah. He was just kind of like, he's just constantly just being a douche. He's like, squad leader's gonna be my role someday, and then he's given
I
squad
liked
leader,
him.
immediately fucks it up, and he's like, nope, not going back. I'm just here to kill some
Yeah,
bugs.
he was just like, it was like he was a douche, but he was aware enough to be like, I'm a douche, but
Yeah,
you know,
and then
It sucks. Hey, what's
and then
happening?
Rico's like, hey, you're a douche, and he's like, you know what? You're right. We could be friends if you want.
that's right.
that's basically how me and Marshall met.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, wait, who's Rico?
I'll
in
let
this
you
situation now?
ponder who was who while we take
All right, I mean, I did ask a very pointed question.
I was Rico.
but- Doing work
Welcome
that, like, we
back
could all
from that
do.
Capri Sun break. We have a small thing to tell everyone. I cut my fucking
Okay.
finger during the Capri
Now,
Sun break.
can I
Is this
can I
the
ask a
content?
can I ask a quick question? When you said we needed to be funnier, is this what you mean?
No,
Because I also cut my finger the other day.
Yeah, read between the
Completely
lines,
separate.
bud.
Fuck you.
Now that's
For those of you unawares, because I assume that's anybody listening to this,
We flipped him
during the
off.
Capri Sun break, Marshall has given us some directorial notes and was saying we need to bring it now. And then he was like, no, don't worry. I got this.
And not 5 seconds earlier was, all right, ow, fuck. You're right, Marshall. This was a good idea. We are funny now.
we're funny
Quick,
now.
Jobe, drop
you-
something
did
on
you
your
hear it?
big toe.
No, that was really good. Actually.
That was like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
dude,
one thing I
fucking-
needed.
We've all kind of frozen. I tell you what, I'd
What?
do big money numbers if I was a voice actor back in the peak Tom and Jerry era.
Give us
Yeah.
a Tom running away.
Tom doesn't say anything when he
Yeah,
runs
but
away.
his legs do a little and he takes off.
But he doesn't do that. The voice actor doesn't make. The
I
sound
don't think you
effects.
Foley
understand
artist.
No. Voice actors definitely do. Obi-Wan Kenobi definitely made the sounds with his mouth, even though the
Yeah, but he
lightsaber's
wasn't
doing it.
supposed to.
Whoosh,
Yeah,
whoosh,
but you can't
whoosh,
help it. That's
whoosh.
what I'm saying. Jobe, you in the studio would be like. Also, like, how much
Okay.
money did they make off of Tom and Jerry for just not having voice actors?
Nah, somebody had to. Well, to be fair, it was Hannah and Barbera doing the voices for everything, I think.
And they
I mean,
nailed
they
it
did.
every
They
single
did, of
time.
course, have like they had some times where like, his legs get hit with something. He goes,
Dude, the screams.
Oh, the
so
it's
screams.
good.
iconic.
All right, guys. I feel like we're getting a little into the tangent
We are.
zone.
The tan
Whoa.
zone.
Tangent zone.
Here, guys,
Uh,
catch this lifeline. I'll pull you out.
I'm not gonna do that.
And we're back
Somebody
to the
has
good
to-
content
Somebody
zone.
has to not go along with the bit.
Starship Troopers.
We're
What do
like,
you feel
what
about this
fuck,
world
asshole.
that they've constructed and the set design for these pieces of
I
CGI
thought some of it-
military?
I thought a decent chunk of it looked pretty cheap.
It does. Yeah.
it does look
Like,
pretty cheap.
They
I
did reuse a lot of
understand-
sets.
And I understand that the budget probably mostly went to the
No,
digital effects.
Yeah,
What was the budget?
like that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of funny
$100 million,
jokes. In '97, this probably looks like pretty good.
Yeah.
But watching it now, it's kind of like. Eh.
I like it for nostalgia.
It dates itself.
does.
You know, kind of, but it's still like a fun. I'm gonna say it. Dare say it. certifiable. It's a fun time.
I want to get you a little stamp that just has fun certified.
Boom.
That be one of our first shirts.
It's just fun. Man, look at me, just putting out premium content for you guys here. You, the listener.
What else is there to talk about? I don't know. It's like the story is kind of basic. Like
It is.
when
I
you
would
break
agree.
it down to just the beats, it's a very classic boy gets shipped off to war moment.
And goes to war and fricks.
It's true. He does do all those things.
Something that stood out to me specifically is Xander gets stabbed in the head, in the brain, and then screams. I don't know much about the human body. It's still a fascinating piece of study for me.
It's still something we know.
But I'm pretty sure if you get stabbed in the brain by a massive alien thingy, you kind of just die.
No, I don't think it's an immediate.
Yeah, because here's my thing. My guess is it started at the frontal lobe, which means that the brain stem was still intact.
Well, I thought it like,
Well, but I mean, like,
it wasn't
no, well, it wouldn't be able. It'd have to stick like probably somewhere in the middle, or like just prior to, because he has to suck the brain out.
He's sucking the brain out.
Yeah.
That's how he's getting all the info
through his proboscis.
Yeah, and then he's all like,
Must have just went like, ew. My bad.
makes
Hey,
sense.
you know that's on me.
"That's okay,"
Bad watcher.
and that's
tell
fine.
ya, oh, what? These bugs, they seem to vary wildly on how easily they die. Like sometimes.
Yes, I was
Well,
thinking
like
that too.
I would, you would probably die easier than I would, Jobe.
Based on what?
Because he's the fastest man
no one
alive.
could catch
He's
me.
not Barry Allen. Stop telling people.
I
that.
never said I was. I make
It's
Barry
just
Allen look
implied.
like a snail.
I make Barry Allen look like Wally West, if you know what I'm saying.
Actually, Wally
No,
West
I
is much
think-
faster.
I
in
know
some
what Trace-
iterations.
I know what Trace is saying because there's some where it's like they're all shooting at them and the alien's the bug's still charging at them, or there'll be the scene where Rico is like with a shotgun and he just starts blasting each one of them just dead in one shot, or the very end where they're backing away from the big brain one and they're just mowing them down in piles. I'm like, it's either they're recruits fresh out of boot camp and they're bad at shooting, and within the span of, I don't know, 2 months they've learned how to shoot things, or it's just plot armor.
Honestly, I think this plot would work better if the universe was more akin to Warhammer. Like, I think the
That's fair.
infantry, the story of like the infantry being sent to die basically would hit harder if there were also like Space Marine equivalents. Like, we have these super well trained dudes, but also for whatever reason we've decided we also need to send wave after wave of.
I think it would be fun to have like kind of almost like super soldier types that are just here commanding.
I mean, they spend half the time saying like the mobile infantry is just the fodder and the fleet gets everything done, but we never see the fleet
That's
doing
Fleet
shit,
drops a
really.
bomb like once.
And then fucking Denise Richards crashes like 14
Yeah,
times.
because
or
she's the
whatever.
greatest pilot of the galaxy.
No, she's just crazy.
She
They never say
survives the
she's
crashes, doesn't she?
good. Well, one of them, I don't know how she survived one of them where like they took a fucking plasma bolt right to the fucking noggin and she just gets a little scar.
Yeah, because
And I'm like, whoa. Someone explain
because
that one
she's
to
tougher
me,
than
guys.
Diz. Diz gets stabbed like maybe 8 times and dies.
Wait, tougher than who? Diz nuts?
Good.
Is that what we're calling this one?
I guess. No, it was something about Helldivers. I will agree with Jobe that I think there is
Go
probably
fucking
some
please of
inconsistencies in the movie, but
And me, I said that too,
But
fucking.
I'm also gonna agree on Marshall's point because there were some points where like Neil Patrick Harris was on screen going, "Now most of you dipshits do this," and you just shoot the legs a lot and it kind of disables them. What you're gonna want to go for is the nerve endings, so he shoots him in the skull, and that's what I think some of them end up doing. Some of them are obviously better shots than others.
I think he says like, oh yeah, don't shoot the limbs, focus on the nerve sac. But it's like, which part's the nerve sac? Because it's not the.
He gotta just.
It's probably somewhere in the center mass.
Yeah,
Shoot him in
I'm
the
just
mouth.
saying
that
It's gonna go
carapace
through.
seems to be nigh impenetrable at times.
Sometimes.
that. Yeah,
Sometimes it's not.
I think it's one of two. It's either plot armor or it's they're trying to show that like
That should be the one bug with plot
the-
armor, and you still fucking die.
it's trying to show that the characters like grow and are getting better. That's like
they
the only
never
thing I
seem to
could
get
see.
much better.
Well, because we
I never
have
did
one that they call the tanker. So the name implies it's tankier, probably a little bit beefier. Rico just jumps on his back and just shoots a little hole in it, and he's like, "Wow, that was a lot easier than I
Or
thought."
it could imply that it's just bigger. Tanks
could
are bigger
be.
than people.
I would hope that a
Maybe
beetle
it's
is
a
a little
tanker
beefier,
because
but
it's full of gas.
that could be.
Also, it's our word for them. What if their just word is like?
Well, we can't
bus?
say
What if their word?
word. That's kind
don't
of
have any-
their word.
They don't have any words.
You're gonna tell me that
We
this
call
world,
them-
if they had a racist word or xenophobic word, I guess, for bugs, they wouldn't
It
be
would
just
come.
It
spouting
would
that shit.
probably be a bug. Is probably a derogatory term for them.
I know. I'd fucking
mean-
hate it
Yeah, they call me a little
What,
bug
being
boy.
called a bug as a
Yeah.
human?
if I was one of those fucking critters.
Or like
Never
like an
get it.
alien comes here and we don't look anything like them, and they're
What?
like,
Oh, it's terrible,
they're like,
Marshall.
hey, the pink weasel planet, and we're like, hey, that's not cool, man.
The naked mole rat
And I
planet.
bet we
Right.
call it the tanker. And they're like, why are you being so
That's-
mean to him? That's clearly
That's
Tim.
That's Clarence.
Clarence is just out here doing his best. He was welcoming you to our home, and now there's a hole in him.
Tell you one thing.
Welcome.
No,
What
stop! You
dang.
don't understand. Here's our welcome plasma. Oh, you guys are susceptible to that? That lady's arm just fell off. I'm sorry. We'll get you one of our bug arms.
Also, okay, someone explain to me, like, so they just fucked up at the beginning. Was that it? Or they're like, oh, someone fucked up. They just underestimated the bugs in the
In the beginning of the movie, or the
Yes.
beginning of that?
like the
incursion?
war where they're like flying everybody in, and they're like, oh wait, there's way too many people here, or something like that. Or like way too many, whatever is too intelligent.
When
they
she
spend
when
the
she does
movie
that
trying
whole
to,
thing
like-
where she's like, somebody made a mistake. Someone made a big.
Yeah. They just
I
fucked
think
up.
I think somebody like
Well, I think they
miscalculated or
assumed,
uncoordinated.
I think they
something.
assumed they would catch the bugs by surprise, but the bugs clearly were
Yeah.
waiting for them.
I think they had bad intel, and that's what. And she's saying they fucked up by not giving them good intel.
You know, Carmen has to crash the ship again because she's just so fucking
It's-
good.
Also,
she has to hit her quota. She's like, it's
Neil
my
Patrick
time.
Harris, and the same amount of time it took fucking John Rico to move from like private to nearly dying to lieutenant, went from whatever his original rank is, probably private, to fucking colonel. is
He
kind of
ends
insane.
up being the
Assume
prime minister of
it's-
intelligence. Actually, I don't know if that's in this movie, but in
It's
the
not in this movie.
the
It's
canon
not
of
in
it,
this
he does
movie.
become the
Not in
prime
this movie.
minister.
Not in
I
this
assume
movie.
it's probably, my guess is his psychic powers are just that.
probably better.
I mean,
Also, out of nowhere, they're just like, by the way, we have psychic powers in this verse. Yeah, try and power skill that, idiot.
If you have your psychic powers, why don't you just come kill the bugs
Doogie
with your
Howser
brain?
is planet level for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, Ace Nubbins fucking solos the verse.
Maybe you do.
Whatever his name is.
Oh man, what else is there to say? We never see
Let me
them
see.
eat
Let me see.
food except for the pink
Um,
slime, but we also never see him eat it.
Yeah, and it's like it's far enough in the future they could probably do like a digital ham or something, right?
Like I said, when they kill people in this movie, they fucking die.
They do, and it's probably
They
for the best.
fucking die. Also,
Unless
this
you're
kid's
John Rico.
okay, but he held
He
them
got
off, so he
stabbed in
gets
the
some bonus
leg.
points.
It's not that big of a
Dude,
deal.
he got stabbed like this big of a hole through
Yeah.
his
Dude.
thigh.
And you're telling
Dude.
and you're telling me that he shouldn't survive that, but then Raxac is like, he lost both of his legs. He can survive that. We got robot legs.
Well, I'm just saying, he was surrounded by people who could tie a tourniquet off. Fucking
on his whole waist.
fucking
Cauterize his
fucking
legs.
John Halo was out there by himself.
Yeah, but
surrounded.
I imagine they would have had to find him pretty quick if he were not to die of blood loss.
Also, did we talk about Diz's death scene? Because that like actually made me sad.
She has
Like,
a.
I
She,
didn't.
Too,
I didn't
'cause
cry.
I was like, damn, she's not going to be in this movie anymore.
yeah,
then,
no, she
huh?
does. She does have a horrible. In terms of death in this, she does have the worst because it's the one that we linger on. Like everybody else is like,
Well, also, everyone. Well, there's that one guy at the beginning where he gets like his arm ripped
Yeah,
off, and then he gets like
chucked
flung,
into
and
the
then
middle,
everyone
yeah.
jumps on him.
that's pretty good.
And I'm like, ugh. Everyone else in that scene, that first one, they just kind of get like, oh, munched. Diz eventually just like she gets stabbed and then stabbed and then stabbed
Yeah,
and stabbed, and then she's like,
Well, yeah, because
I
like
get it.
everybody else is like a pretty quick death. Hers is like she's bleeding and her lungs are probably filling up with blood, and we actually know this
Also-
character.
So she dies, and then John Rico kisses her on the mouth. Is that necrophilia?
No. The soul hasn't left the body yet.
It's still in there.
He was
Okay.
sucking the soul out. He's like,
He's dementoring it. Gotcha.
she's
gotcha,
always
gotcha.
mine now.
So this movie is kind of like Ender's Game in that
I thought
humans
that
are
might.
in a battle against bugs. Which reminds me, it's time
I
for
don't wanna
everyone's
talk about
favorite
this.
segment. Welcome back to another rendition of Sexy Roleplay.
I mean, at least everybody here is of age. It's not like Jobe's gonna be like, "All right, you played that
Marshall,
little girl
you-
from the school."
Marshall, you play that little girl from the beginning of the end.
and Jobe, you get to play the bug that she steps on.
Oh,
Okay, wait, but that's a funny scene in itself because like all the kids are like they're stomping on bugs. They're like, see, the kids are doing their part, and then there's just the teacher in the background going, "Good job, children."
why is she German in
It,
your
it
verse?
it happened in fucking Munich. What do you mean?
Okay, did we cover the
No.
just
Yeah.
random? Hey, by the way, Buenos Aires is now entirely white people.
Yeah,
by
I
the way.
assume
Yeah,
in
that's
the
all-
book. I assume in the book it's something like, "Oh, America took over all of South America."
Well, let's see.
or something.
Well, yeah, this is the 23rd century.
And now they play freaky football.
Um,
And Tokyo has a football team.
In the
They got-
future, we play freaky football.
so this was originally published in 1959. So there's probably still a little bit of like, white people rule the world. White people there. White people. White people. White people.
Taco night.
But at least we do have some people of color in the in at least in the mobile infantry. So they gotta
Hoorah!
we get a little bit there. But yes, Buenos Aires canonically all white.
But also, random out of nowhere, we mentioned that there were like boobies everywhere when there was a sex scene. However, they just like all took a shower
Yeah.
together, and I'm like, that's
That's
like,
just
well,
how
right.
it showers. I mean,
It's nice.
you're gonna be fighting
tell
with
you
these
what.
people. You're probably gonna see something anyway because their arms and legs are gonna get ripped off. It's not like it's
Also,
a
I
big
love
deal
how-
now.
John Rico left and like just slapped him on
Yeah.
his ass. I'm like, go get him, get out of here.
They're all very
I
friendly.
would be so shy.
No,
I'd
you
just be in
wouldn't.
the corner, and then if somebody like was trying to talk to me, I'd be like, "Dude, I'm literally
No,
naked."
no, you
right
would you would be like. No, you'd
Literally.
be like, oh, I gotta go shower, and they're like, oh yeah, we're heading there too, and then you see that there's a girl with him, like, oh, to the girl shower, and they're like, no, it's co-ed, and you'd be like, and you just sprint down the hall,
Are you
and
kidding
then
me?
slide in like you're fucking.
I'd be over there showering, and then you'd be like, "Hey, Joe," and I'd turn around and I'd have a bikini top. on.
No. Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I'm so
What did you
conscious.
think I was gonna say?
Big speedo.
Big speedo.
Big speedo goes over his shoulders.
The banana hammock.
You like the Borat costume?
Oh. Hello, very nice boobies.
What do we think about the
I try not to.
costumes?
Which costumes?
The helmets are
the-
dumb.
The
I don't
helmets
know
are
if that's
way too big.
intentional or not.
No,
I guess if you wanted to make it a commentary on the Vietnam War, though, like our troops were just given shitty equipment.
Also, they remind me of the Juggernaut helmet from
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
On the
And they're just like the
Juggernaut,
big,
baby.
but like
says
their regular
bitch.
armor was just kind of like
No, we
Didn't-
can't curse on the
didn't
show,
do-
though.
fuck.
the regular armor didn't do jack
Yeah,
shit.
I know. Well, like, what
They're-
is the point of the helmet?
The only thing I
Besides
can think of,
stopping your own bullets, I guess.
but they can't though. He gets like, there's no way. Those pierce the
Also-
arachnids. They're gonna pierce your helmet.
You're not
Let's just-
arachnids.
That's what they call them. That's the race.
That is the race.
They call them bugs because they're being
Also-
derogatory and using propaganda.
So, armor doesn't do anything, ships don't do anything, the guns barely do anything. The only thing that seems to work is the fucking
nuke.
nuke.
And it does like the and then boom, 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 boom. I'm like, wow.
Also, there's that scene at the very end where they like jump or they get pushed with the shockwave of the fireball, and then you see that perfectly rectangular piece of rock fall down to close it behind it. I'm like, wow.
I did look at that. That's one of the editing errors that they're like, yeah, this is supposed to be like a bunch of rocks crumbling, but if you look closely, you don't have to look that closely. It's just one square that goes boom.
That's funny.
Oh, did you hear in the Oblivion remaster that came out? There's a scene in the original Oblivion where the lady says her line, and in the game she says her line, says, "Let me take another take," and then re-says the line. And they left that in on the remaster.
Love that.
No, it's just I think hilarious that they like no, it's a mistake, but it's so loved.
Nah,
We
it's
gotta
funny.
keep it in.
The only thing I can think of in terms of the helmets is Rico gets thrown from that tanker and he probably bonks his head a little bit. The helmet probably helped him a little bit, but other than that,
Okay, but that doesn't
widely
explain why they
useless.
have to be such shit visibility because they're all like,
I'm doing my part.
"Hi, I'm
It's
Johnny
like
Rico."
was it those like the drill sergeants when they have their like cowboy hat like way down here, and
cowboy hat thing.
Don't you know fucking talking to you?
What are your malfunction, bro?
Somebody give me a cigar and or a toothpick.
Somebody get me a bush light and a tomahawk.
Now I'm gonna break this kid's arm. Any objection? Actually, yes. Too late. And then he almost
what do we
kills
think
Diz.
the commentary on the administrative punishment being flogging and not just calling it a flogging? It's administrative.
Well, I mean, they used to call it corporate punishment, but you're just beating the shit out of the kids in the classroom, but you can't call it that.
Corporal. It wasn't called corporate punishment.
Yeah, well, I wasn't alive back then. How would I know?
I don't know. Just seems fun.
No, I mean, it is a little bit weird.
Weird.
But like, I like that the guy has like
What do we call flogging currently in the
whips,
I think we just call it flogging.
whipping, and or naying. I do like that that Tom Clancy Krabs does get a little bit of humanity in him. He's been an asshole this whole time, but he's just like, hey, bite down on this. It helps. Trust me. I would know. And he's like, oh, okay, now I trust you.
Dude, and the callback where it's like, if you want to go fight bugs, you need to be devoting yourself to private. And then at the end,
Zip got the bugs, man. Zip got the bug.
Also, silly. Just have a fucking net. I thought this was the 23rd century.
It's a space net. It's not made out of nylon. It's made out of some really cool metal polymer that's bendy, but also really sturdy. Because this is the 23rd century, almost the 24th.
Everyone says that it's like, oh, this is a new material, dude. You know how much of a spaceship would be like 95% plastic?
Really expensive to build one of those.
Actually, no, that's a terrible idea. Do you know how much space debris fucks shit up?
Very much so. Like it's like.
Well, I mean, the outside would be plastic. You fucking
obviously
twerps.
it would. You just said 95%, and that's probably the.
Are you
entire
telling
hull.
me only 5% of the ship is the fucking outside?
Yes.
Oh. Well.
So you
a lot more
mean
stuff on it's bigger on
skin
the
is the largest organ.
Jobe, he went to business school or whatever.
I went to business school.
He would know.
Tristan
Go
finished
to
college.
business
So
school.
I have no idea what I'm
Trace-
talking about. Why am I getting hit twice? Tristan finished and Trace another thing. You dumb, you stupid, and a third thing.
And I'm the one with the most starship building experience out of all of us.
You don't
I don't know
build
about
starships.
that.
You
I don't
build
know about
orcs and shit.
Yeah,
I play with my Legos. I know what I'm talking about.
it's true. He does do that.
Yeah.
And he's probably the closest that like out of the three of us will ever get because he is born from a rich family. Although I will say, I know Marshall doesn't really like to talk about his personal life, but I would like to take a moment with our listeners to have a moment of silence for Marshall's rich family who did not have a trampoline, and that's immediate poor status.
Trampoline. I can't whistle, so that's like
I don't know
like
if
one
it's
of the curses that I've been cursed with
Cursed
in my life.
to not have a trampoline, not whistle, but also be rich. The struggle.
Rich in money, but poor
It's
in
whistles.
whistling.
Rich and liquid, poor
But
and
that's just the thing,
chumping.
though. You don't need to know how to whistle because you can just buy whistles because you're rich. You just carry one around. Somebody's like, I whistle. And Marshall's like, yeah, me too. See, I can, but I have to. I do the
See, but I couldn't even fake that. I have to go.
No, because some people do the thing where they put their fingers in their mouth and just do the little whistling. You could just do that, but like have the whistle like right here and then just.
Okay, I've seen people do so many people. I've seen people do like the
Yeah.
2-finger, or they just like or some people like. And I'm like, dude, what did get your
I
fingers
think,
out your fucking
I think
mouth?
it depends on somebody's efficiency with this. Some people have to like push their tongue together with
Oh,
it.
they gotta level
So,
up their whistling
yeah.
ability.
Isn't it just you're just pulling your lips together real tight?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do it that way.
I don't know. Can't do it.
My dad
Can't
does
do
it real well. It's like it's like ear shattering. I could hear that man from 3 miles away if I needed to.
I heard my
Which is weird because he's only like 3 inches
Well,
tall.
that's how his lips can get even more.
Overall,
particular.
though, this movie is fine.
It is fine.
It's very fine. There's better and there's
fine.
worse. I'm feeling a 6 out of 10 for me.
6. That's somewhere I was thinking. I was gonna give it a 6.877.
Cash now.
I like this movie because it is fun. It's entertaining. It is good. And I used to watch this when I was young with my dad a lot.
That explains
the naked
so much.
scenes were particularly interesting to watch with a father figure such as my father. So so that part was a little weird, but it's fun nostalgia. It's one of those movies that I always like coming back to every once in a while. So I'm gonna give it an 8 because it's not a perfect movie and it's got some issues with the editing and obviously CGI, but I still enjoy it. I think it's fun.
Alrighty. Next week we have a Jobe pick. Everyone say hi to Jobe. Hi Jobe. His pick is Bullet Train. I don't know. I don't think this
Jobe, you picked something that booby.
My
there's
version will because I'll stop halfway through the movie to
watch
go
Black Swan. But just the sex scene.
Just the sex scene.
Anyways, we've been
50
Film
Seconds
Clubs.
to
We love
Backtrack.
having you here. Catch us
Where?
next week.
Where do they catch us?
Bullet Train.
Tell me.
I'm just gonna say on Spotify and YouTube, TikTok, whenever our social media manager decides to social media manage.
Any of the logins for nothing.
That's not entirely true. It's probably on the,
probably
on the Discord.
You have a means to ask.
Yeah, but then I'll just get
what do you
yelled
mean? I
at.
shattered my phone.
Anyways, see you next
Take the
week.
abuse.
Bye-bye.
We want